Back for our AI snack time segment. We're still enjoying another Modelo and eating some Dots pretzels for the snack. But in this AI segment, we want to talk about this new Microsoft Learn webpage slash article that Microsoft put out called Responsible and Trusted AI, their cloud adoption framework. And in this article, Microsoft outlines 6 key principles for responsible AI: accountability, inclusiveness, reliability and safety, fairness, transparency, and privacy and security. According to Microsoft, these principles are essential to creating responsible and trustworthy AI as it moves more into mainstream products and services. And these principles are really guided by 2 perspectives, which are ethical and explainable. Now, I know Ken and myself have issues with a couple different ones and whatnot, but I like to just point out what I think the real issue with AI is basically the humans controlling it. I think that from the ethical perspective, this is the main problem with AI. Is it unethical to believe in man-made global warming? Some would say yes, some would say no. Is abortion ethical, right? Some are going to say yes, some are going to say no. Is it ethical to use robots to replace human labor? Somebody is making those calls, and whether they're right or they're wrong, nobody can say it because it's an ethical issue. You know what I mean? That's the point. It's half the world believes it and half the world doesn't believe it. So somebody's always going to be influencing AI with their beliefs, which is going to cause some sort of issue.
Yeah, and I think this article we'll put in the show notes so you can see it. It's from April 20th, actually 2023.
Right.
And I think if you read through this article, it actually makes you understand what you said even more, that it is about people, right?
Mhm.
That there's all of these considerations about how are people going to be accountable for how they build their AI models. And is it inclusive and safe and fair? Is there transparency? And the more you read through this, the more it's like, wow, yeah, okay, this is like people are making this. And you see words like fair and reasonable or expectations or right, which are
everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody perceives those
subjective terms, which we know already that not everyone agrees on these things, right? There's, what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. I mean, there are obvious things, of course, which I think, 99.9% of people are going to agree on either end of the spectrum. But there's probably just as many or more that are somewhere in the middle. That are going to create things. So how you say something needs to be fair or reasonable from different people's perspectives.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So if we want to talk about the first one up there, accountability. So my thoughts on this section is that I 100% agree that people need to be held accountable. The issue that I have though is to what extent. From everything that I hear, AI can be, 100 times more impactful and deadly or whatnot than nuclear warheads. That's what the talk is, right? So does that mean when you're holding somebody accountable, is it jail time if they do something?
Right. How are they being held? These are like guidelines.
Yeah.
But how do you possibly hold, Joe, Pete, Sue, Mary, and Jose, who were part of that team that developed that feature, with AI? How do you hold those people who
they made a mistake that killed, I don't know, 50,000 people? You're going to hold them accountable?
Who may have done that work 3 or 4 years ago,
right?
Or aren't even working there anymore,
right? Is jail time ethical? You know what I mean? It's just, who knows?
Yeah.
But that's one of the ones I had an issue with. You have one you had an issue with?
Yeah. The under explainability, right? So under these 2 different categories, you got ethical and explainable. So under explainability, The key one I saw was transparency. If you've gone out and tried Chat GPT or other AI tools out there, you type in a question and it gives you an answer. You have no idea what it used as its source for that. I mean, it's Chat GPT is the source, right?
You're supposed to trust it.
It used its universe of knowledge
Right.
to come up with that answer. And we know that many times those are not accurate answers. It will hallucinate, as they say. Right?
It needs to offer some sort of sources for people.
So to me, it says achieving transparency helps the team. So by the way, these are principles for the developers, for the administrators, and the users. So this kind of different things apply to different groups. But in this one, it's transparency helps the team understand the data and algorithms used to train the model, what transformation logic was applied to the data, and so on. Insights into how the model was created, which allows it to be reproduced in a transparent way. And what I think about is the interview that the Google CEO did, where he acknowledged in an interview with a reporter that they did not understand how it did something that it did.
Yeah.
So to me, I think it's interesting, like how can they make it transparent and understand how they can reproduce a result in a transparent way when they don't even understand how it did something that it did.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is their AI model was only trained in English, and somebody decided to ask it a question in a different language. For this, let's just say it was Dutch. And the AI model actually responded in Dutch, and they have no idea how the AI model learned Dutch, which is very scary, and maybe we don't know as much as we should. But yeah, to your point, you can't make it fair. I mean, maybe they can one day, I guess.
I mean, I think it's kind of my other big major takeaway point on reading this article is that I think it's very good that this got created, right? That there is thought being put into these things, but it kind of is just CYA, right? Like they're just covering their bases here, because it isn't the major corporations necessarily who everyone's worried about where this could go. It's the nefarious players, someone who may not be following these rules. And what are they going to do with it? And what's the penalty for them not following these principles or guidelines that the better part of the world is following?
And I think we have to mention, and this just popped up in my head. This article is written, or whatever, it's from April 20th, 2023. I think since then that Microsoft, Facebook, Google, and some of the major players have come together to create some sort of governing, I don't want to say rules, maybe expectations of AI through a meeting at the White House. Have you heard anything about that?
No.
I think I heard that. So I'll look that up and report back next time we have our next podcast. But I think there's some sort of principles that might be in play for AI in the future.
Who knows? It's a big, it's a small world and it's a big world. So I don't know if they're not part of this group that's decided these principles make sense. Where does that leave us? Is the question.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess what is kind of scary is that AI is basically going to be the end all be all, right?
Says you.
Well, it says AI. I mean, if you ask AI, in AI's mind, it's the governing whatever. It just tells you what it wants, and people are supposed to believe it right now. Well, not yet, but
right. Well, and that's why I'm so bothered by the transparency of it.
Yeah.
I think they have to do a better job on the transparency, or another one under the ethical area. That one of the categories is reliability and safety. Well, reliability kind of falls under that transparency thing too. Like, can I rely on this result? that it's giving me? Did it just
Nobody knows.
hallucinate? Did it come up with this? And so the problem is you could say, Ken, 99.9% of the time, it's an accurate answer. I would say, how do I know this isn't that 0.1% of the time?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? If it's for something important
You're
where
not.
my job is, this could cause issues for me. It's some sort of a quality control check on a part that we're producing or something, and I've somehow incorporated AI into it, and it's maybe it's that 1.1% that I'm relying on it
There's no
for.
way.
That's the thing. So I think it has to be proven to be reliable and transparent.
And I think these AI companies in the future are going to combat what you just said, saying, well, 99.9% of the time it's right. That's more than anything else you do. So don't worry about that 0.1%. They'll spin it, these marketing people out there, they'll spin it to where you end up believing AI no matter what.
Yeah.
But I think overall, I don't know if you've ever read the book, like I said, I've mentioned before, the George Orwell book, 1984, where they have the Ministry of Truth, the Ministry of Peace, the Ministry of Love, and the Ministry of Plenty. That's what is going to be needed for, well, not needed, but that's where AI is going, where there's a governing body of all these things that basically tell you what the truth is. We're going to replace critical thinking, Ken. It's over with.
Well, I don't know.
One hell of a way to wrap
And
up the
how long? How long, will
Well,
we be around?
Well, I'll tell you what, once AI becomes adopted by more, it's going to double itself at an unheard of rate. Within 5 years, this is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a world we don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope not. We'll see. So, all right. Well, that about sums it up for us. Another great podcast. Always fun. Good beers.
Fun. Had a good time.
Yeah. It's 91 degrees outside. So we're going to wrap this up and head out into some hot weather. Until next time, everybody, stay nice, stay fun, have fun. I don't know. Ken, take us home.
Bye.